When I was dead, I perceived that God was beyond all religion, because it was beyond, the divine being is beyond all concept and understanding and containment. The word eternal itself, or infinite, means that it can't be contained within concept.
Welcome to the concluding episode of Heaven is Beautiful, Near-Death Experiences of Reverend Peter Panagore. Peter is an international best-selling author, professional speaker, and widely renowned devotional broadcaster who has had 2 near-death experiences that profoundly changed his life. On today's episode, Reverend Panagore discusses how he came to understand that God's existence extends far beyond any religious dogma.
When I was dead, I perceived that God was beyond all religion, because it was beyond, the divine being is beyond all concept and understanding and containment. The word eternal itself, or infinite, means that it can't be contained within concept. There's no gender, there's no physicality, there's no matter whatsoever. And all these words of definition aren't adequate. They don't even come close. One God, oneness of being beyond capacity for humanity to understand and comprehend. It's not like the Christian God or the Muslim God or the Jewish God. Those categories didn't exist for me. The divine being is oneness of love, and that's the definition that I use the most, because it's the most universally understood. Everybody understands love, but more to the point, God is all love and beyond all love. And so when I came back, I was a person of faith and belief before I went. I came back with no faith and no belief. And not only just in religion, but in all culture and language and history and all human constructs are illusory to me. They are necessary for functionality in the world. Even language is an artificial concept. None of that is real to me. All that's real to me is the divine presence itself. And so I came back without faith or belief because I came back with knowledge. I know God is real. I'm not interested in convincing anybody because I know that I can't convince them. You can only find that on your own. But God is the reality beyond realities. And every human being has the capacity of being in the presence of the divine. Atheist, Jan, Jew, Zoroastrian, everybody, Buddhist, doesn't matter. Because at the core of the center of our being is the divine light itself. And whether you perceive it inside yourself or in any other person doesn't really matter, because that's what you are, and you'll find out the day you die.
When Peter had his first NDE, he was afraid to tell others about it. He kept his experience a painful and lonely secret for 20 years, and then realized that people who have NDEs or other mystical experiences need someone to talk to, and so Reverend Panagore started a counseling service.
I run a global spiritual counseling service for closet mystics because I had no one to talk to for the longest time. And I know that there are mystics all over the world, and they don't know who to talk to about their divine experience. And many of them are professionals, and they're afraid that their careers will be damaged. And many of them are in relationships where their spouse or their partner can't comprehend it, and they have no one to talk to about it. So I offer myself as a counselor for them. And I've had clients in Perth and Brisbane and Istanbul and all over the world. Basically what I do is I listen and I help reflect. I help sort out the experience. I help people understand what a definition of a mystical experience is and what the varieties of it are, and help them understand how to live with it. And in the definition of mystics, I include near-death experiencers. Near-death experience is a variety of mystical experience. It's not an independent thing. It's part of a much larger group of human experience that includes out-of-body experience, raptures into heaven, or indwellings of the divine that are like the totality of the sweetness of all love infills every pore and cell of the body, in ecstasy, or the experience of encountering a divine. I'm here to help the individual understand how that experience is real and how to live with it.
We asked Peter why so many more people are having NDEs now than in the past, and are these NDEs playing a role in raising the consciousness on Earth?
Really, the huge big difference is that in the 1960s, cardiac care came online, and medical technology, science, began raising the dead. And that technology developed over the last 50 years so that there's more capacity for saving lives, they call it, or resuscitation, but it's really raising the dead. And now there's 10 million in the United States who've come back from the dead through medical technology. And imagine that number across the globe as medical technology, science has spread around the world. And so for the first time in the history of the world, science is driving spirituality. And the message that most near-death experiencers come back with is love. That's it, no matter what their experience is, whether they end up in a heaven where they're walking in a field of daisies, or they go to the place of non-being like I went, the message is love. There are those who pop out of their body at the ER and they pop right back in, and they don't go far enough to get that message. But what they do come back with is the knowledge that they're not their body. They can no longer pretend that they're made of only matter. And so I think that the biggest impact that near-death experience as a global phenomenon is that for the first time in the history of the world, no matter what your religion is, people are coming back speaking about divine love things. And so science has begun researching this and is discovering it's real. Everybody's talking about it now, and it's going to free up all of the other mystics in the world to be able to have conversations about their own spiritual experience that they've been afraid to talk about. And because so many people have had this experience globally now, near-death experience, the conversation, I hope and pray, will begin to shift on a national, international basis. And that the impact of near-death experience based in science can shift the conversation about what it means to be a human being in relationship to each other. And maybe finally, in the first time in the history of the world, we have the coming of the new age. And I'm encouraging everyone to talk to somebody in their own life about their mystical experience, whatever it happens to be, in order to begin a local conversation. You don't have to stand in a soapbox to talk to people. Just tell somebody you love. That's all. Somebody you trust.
We asked Peter about his personal mission in life, and he shared the following thoughts.
I have two missions in life. One is to be grandfather to my granddaughter, to be substitute father, to help her adjust to best that she can in the world. That's my physical mission. But my real mission in life is the mission of everybody, which is to become channels of light, to become another node of the presence of the divine in the world, to bring more light into the presence of the world by getting out of the way of the light. And I think that's everybody's mission, is to love each other. Love each other. That's the mission of life. And for those of us who are more spiritually capable, maybe born that way or find a way to become that way, to simply become a beacon. If we can each become a channel of light, a presence of the divine, then we have an opportunity to evolve spiritually.
At the conclusion of the interview, Reverend Panagore had one final thought to share with our global audience.
All you need to do is love. It's built into humanity. It's like if I were God and I was going to create a way for everyone to find me, I'd build something into them. And what's built into us is our capacity for love. Love each other is the simplest thing there is. You just have to love the people in your life, that's all. That's a very simple thing. Just love each other.
Reverend Peter Panagore, thank you for sharing your experiences and your inner wisdom. May you be blessed abundantly for your great generosity.
For more information about Reverend Peter Panagore, please visit peterpanagore.love.
Elegant viewers, thank you for your company today during today's episode of Heaven is Beautiful, Near-Death Experiences of Reverend Peter Panagore, Part 4 of 4.